Since this series began, 5 coasters have joined this park, but there's a large plot in the centre of the park that needs one big thrill machine to fill it. Welcome to episode 5 of Cedar Cove, where a B&M FLOORLESS joins the park. Welcome back to Cedar Cove. It's been a little while, hasn't it? I've been quite busy with uni and work and everything, but let's not talk about that. Cedar Cove has a new coaster, finally, and it is a B&M FLOORLESS coaster, and I am so happy with this. I wouldn't be surprised if I built this coaster probably way back in, I want to say March maybe, or even, I don't know, it could have been, it was a while ago. It was quite a long time ago, but yeah, the coaster now is finally in the park, and I'm just loving the way that the park is looking at the moment with all of this movement going on. It's slowly coming alive, and there's just so much activity all around the park, and I'm very happy with this B&M FLOORLESS coaster that is now sort of at the centre of it. The main sort of inspiration for this FLOORLESS coaster was probably after quite a few different ones that I've ridden. Especially I know Hulk is a sit-down coaster, not a FLOORLESS, but it was kind of inspired by Hulk and Kraken a little bit, but also with sort of inspiration, I don't know, I almost predicted inspiration of what I would expect a B&M FLOORLESS coaster to look like, I suppose, now. I think there's the bright yellow B&M FLOORLESS coaster that is called, is it Scream or something? I can't remember what it's called. Or Hair Raiser? It's got a weird name, but that coaster did provide quite a lot of inspiration for that first drop, as you can see there. But yeah, it is quite a unique FLOORLESS coaster. It does still have the very traditional B&M elements of loop, zero G roll, Immelman there, but yeah, working to profile those wasn't the easiest. B&M have a very specific profiling, but once you manage to master it, not that I'm saying I have, but once you manage to get it so it at least looks right, it's very rewarding. Yeah, and I'm really happy with the way that it's turned out. I think I mentioned last episode that there was going to be a big coaster coming here, like I've probably said every episode in this park, and that's not going to change anytime soon. There's a lot of big coasters on the way, certainly, that I am really excited for, and this coaster is just pretty much perfect for the park. I'm really happy with how it looks, how it fits in, and yeah, the design of it is something I am pretty proud of. I'll walk you through the layout of the coaster in a little while from above, but just at ground view, I'm really happy with sort of how intimidating the coaster looks. It completely dominates this little part of the park and really takes up this sight line. And I just really like these big 3 or 4 series of elements there to start off the ride. Really nice path interaction as well, and because it is raised up a little bit, I'm doing hand gestures, because it is raised up a little bit from that lower down pathway, it just makes it appear that much bigger. And this obviously is the big central ride in this park. If you can remember from the last few episodes, there's a big waterway that goes around this whole area, so this being the big centerpiece does kind of work quite nicely. And once all the foliage and stuff comes in to really soften the area, I think it'll blend together quite nicely as well. The colour scheme as well, I think there's a coaster somewhere in Asia, I can't remember, it's a B&M, I think it might be a wing coaster, or it could be a FLOORLESS, I can't remember. It's called Forest Predator or something, and it has a very similar blue to the track, all the supports, I can't remember which one, but I did sort of make it a bit more vibrant, just so it sort of pops a bit more, and the supports are kind of they're almost Disney's Go Away Green, actually, I suppose, aren't they? But yeah, they do try to get lost in the foliage a bit, so it does look like the track is sort of snaking around. It's not going to have a theme, because this park is mainly an amusement park. It's a very pretty park as opposed to a themed park, so yeah, that'll sort of be what it stays like. We've got a Huss big swinging thing that I can't remember the name of, and then this access road here that comes up so you can get access to the coaster and some backstage areas, which just comes up onto the top of this little hill that I'm on. You can see the rest of the layout down there. You'll see that in a bit from above. I'm really happy with the layout of it. It just flows really nicely, and it's got some more sort of intriguing elements than what you would normally find on a FLOORLESS coaster, but yeah, it feels good. It feels like it's pushing B&M in a different direction, because they haven't really made a FLOORLESS coaster in quite a long time. Yeah, I've just checked, it's 2013 the last FLOORLESS coaster opened with Hot Wheels Nitro, but yeah, this is sort of what I would imagine a newer gen B&M FLOORLESS coaster would look like, or at least it's a guess, I suppose. B&M haven't really innovated elements-wise in quite a while. They do stick to what they're used to, which I think does work for them, because they are known as like that one consistent, reliable manufacturer, at least. Maybe not recently with the roughness that sort of found its way on some of their newer coasters, but let's just pretend this one is very smooth, because it is. I've smoothed it a lot. I've been very particular with my profiling, so I know that this hopefully wouldn't run as rough as some of the newer ones do, but you have this very uniquely profiled first drop there, just like Hair Razor at Ocean Park. I've got the RCDV open next to me. So it goes on to that really unique drop, loop around the lift hill, very Kumba inspired. Then it does a very nicely profiled 0G roll, perfectly centered over the station. Nice Immelman there that snaps around as it exits underneath the brake run into a really big airtime hill. This is where it sort of turns into like a hyper style layout, kind of. Then it goes up into a mid-course brake run, nicely profiled drop, so you get some great airtime on the way down. Huge corkscrew over that other part of the brake run. Quite nice high overbank there. Dips down into an airtime hill above the brake run, and then into your interlocking corkscrews before a nice transition back into the brakes. I'm really liking this layout. It's just sort of inspired by quite a few different ones. When I did this layout, I hadn't been on Superman, is it Traction of Steel, I think it's called, at Part 1 of Madrid. I hadn't been on that one yet, but I knew I was going to, so it is quite a bit inspired by that as well, along with like Hulk, Kumba, Kraken, quite a few others. Yeah, and obviously a bit of hyper inspiration in there as well, but I'm really happy with it. Let's get on to making it look pretty. Here we go, update number 2, and there isn't a ton that's changed, I'll be completely honest. I've sort of got to the point in this, the middle part of the episode for me always seems to get to a point where I don't really know what I'm doing. Sort of got into a position where not a lot's changed, and I'm slowly figuring out what I want to change. But then it's also quite close to the end point as well. It's that weird sort of limbo of I don't know whether it's complete, but it probably should be sort of thing. But I have sort of quickly realised that because of the area of the park that this coaster's in, and with there already being that quite big clump of trees and foliage at the back, there isn't actually too much that needs doing to this. Where's the water gone? I'll have to add that back in. I must have deleted it out. But apart from doing the station building, adding that lake under sort of the central part of the layout, and over there, this huge drop tower, this was a coaster. I've deleted it so you can't see it. That will be probably the next episode, along with stuff that's going to go on all around here to sort of connect these areas up. These pink bits I'm just going to do, I think, is like a boardwalk style restaurant that overlooks all the coastery goodness that's going to go over there. We also have this huge intimate drop tower. I thought we need a taller ride in the park, at least for views, so it's mostly centered in the park. Nice bits of queue in there with a bit of retaining wall at the back. It deals with that level change quite nicely as well. Yeah, and obviously sort of complements the coaster. You can sort of imagine the swinging pendulum ride, this coaster and that drop tower, maybe all going in at the same time, because they're all sort of a similar colour scheme. I might change the pendulum maybe so it does fit a bit more accurately, but I've added quite a lot more trees in the ride area as well. I was sort of thinking maybe some of these elements exist because they're navigating around trees and around like access roads and stuff, so that's sort of what's going on there. I don't know what ride would have been here originally, or even if there was one. There's quite a few rides in the park where I think I mentioned before, almost like I'm designing around what could have been there in the past, but this just seemed sort of like it would have just been a blank patch of land. The station building, really struggled with this. I actually took a little bit of inspiration from the coaster that I think will be next week's by a very special creator, friend of mine, who will be doing it. Definitely took a bit of inspiration from their station building, so I was really struggling with what to do. I didn't really know like what identity this coaster would like present itself with its station, at least, so I have kind of gone for a more simple design that's just quite clean and modern. It's got the accent colours of the coaster, and also looks really nice at night as well, with some lovely night lighting that's embedded into the ceiling. But yeah, we're really struggling with this. I still don't know whether this is the final design of it. I need to maybe work on it a little bit more, add some more realism details and stuff, but that's how it's going to sit for the time being. As for the rest of the ride area, I've added a little bit more foliage. Still need to do like a general foliage pass for a couple more trees and stuff, just to give it a bit of visual interest and to soften it a little bit. This was the original design for the station building, which just wasn't working at all. It looks super ugly, very like sort of low budget kind of Six Flags vibes, so I wanted to go with something a bit more clean looking. I was taking a little bit of inspiration from like the Hyperia station, but obviously this one's more not enclosed. I might give it a green roof as well, like I have done over the entrance. I think that could be quite a nice touch, sort of marrying them two together so they do give a bit of a similar aesthetic. But yeah, need to finish the rest of that, obviously. Up here you can see I've added a little bit more to this turnaround section for the sky ride. I'm thinking this is just going to be a viewing point, because the sky ride to the front and the back of the park sort of, yeah, I don't know whether anything else is going to come up here, but that front to the back route is more like a scenic route. Like I said, I don't really know what's going on around this area of the park here. I am planning a couple of things, but whether any of those materialise, because I do want this park series done with relatively soon, because I've got other projects I'd like to start. One that I've been planning for quite a while. I think I mentioned it in a previous video, but yeah, next episode will probably be the coaster over there where my cursor is. Once I've got this one finished, the park should be looking a lot more developed. Doesn't this view never get old? I love it. This is the final update for this episode. I wasn't planning on it to be, but I think after a quick, I don't know, mental reevaluation, I realised that he's very happy. Wow. I think after I realised that at the end of last update, it was actually a lot further on than I thought it was. I felt like it needed something, and then now I've completed the foliage, it now has that something, and it wasn't actually needed a lot more work than I thought it did. I've also been around this front area of the park and sort of neatened it up a bit, because it was like sort of, there was no boundary between the pathway and the like sort of lake slash river going around the park. I've added a couple of lights as well, like up here. I've just put the general park's night lighting to sort of work. And then, yeah, you just get some nice views of the coaster. I just love how much movement there is in this park now. I have taken the guests out just because while I was making a few profiling tweaks to the B&M Flawless coaster, I don't know whether anyone has ever experienced this, but when a park gets to a certain size, the coaster builder gets really laggy. So at least it did a lot in Planet Coaster 1. Significantly less in this game, but it was still annoying me, so I just told all the guests to go away while I was busy tweaking the coaster. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this little central area of the park has turned out. It's really like just brought the whole thing together. That lamp is floating. It's really brought it together quite nicely. The centre of the park kind of feels a bit more natural now, rather than just being this big patch of grass, because I knew this coaster was coming, but now it's actually in. Yeah, it just feels right. And I love this like the aspect of the coaster being slightly raised up as you approach it. It just makes it feel that much more like scary. I mean, the wing coaster looks terrifying anyway, but that's just because it's huge. But yeah, I've done a little bit more work on this bridge, continued the rock work and foliage around here. I have put a bit of a boundary with just some wooden stakes in the ground. I did think sort of the way that this area, I might change that sign as well so it actually says the name of the ride. Comment below names of rides, but I've sort of changed it so that maybe this area of the park in the middle is slightly older, and like I said, when the wing coaster came in, they would have sort of modernised the entrance. That's why it has different coloured pathway and different fencing, whereas this area down here is a bit older, so the fencing and pathway is a bit different. I've also changed the colours on the Huss pendulum swinging thing, I can't remember the name of it, so that it matches the B&M Flawless coaster, quite like how the Gerstlauer lift is framed by the Zero G roll. That's quite nice. But yeah, this swinging over the pathway I absolutely love. I think I originally put this in when Evictus was announced, just because, I don't know, I thought it was quite cool. I know it's not an Intamin one, we don't have the like the larger gyro swing in the game from Intamin, but it's as close as we're going to get, it's fine. This could have been an older ride in the park, maybe put in quite a while before the B&M Flawless was put in, but I do really like experimenting like that with parks and showing things of different ages from different times, which is what I will be doing a lot more in my next series as a tease for that, if I haven't teased it enough already. But yeah, if you have any name ideas for any of these rides, please do comment them down below. I would love to hear your thoughts on if you've got any ideas for those. You can just see it going over the loop there and then through the Zero G roll. I'm loving the profiling of this coaster, and it really dominates the middle of the park, and the noise of it as well going around is perfect. I like all the changing levels as well, like I've mentioned. That really, pardon the pun, elevates certain parts of the park to just feel a lot better, and I just love it. And like I said, there was something that I thought was missing. There was just loads of foliage. I think now that it has a lot more foliage, the whole place sings. Like this area just feels really alive, and especially lived in as well, with the words with the colour of the supports and the track and the way the foliage interacts with that, and this whole area just kind of brings it to life. This central area of the park, at least at the boundaries we have at the moment, does feel like an actual park, I suppose. It's really well landscaped and everything, and yeah, just with a huge coaster in the middle of it. It's a complete mess of track and supports when you see it from this angle as well. There's a fair amount of this layout you can't see from the main pathway, but if you look at most B&M like sit-down coasters like this, that's quite a lot of the case most of the time, like with Kumba and especially like Superman, I can't remember what it's called, the one at Part 1 of Madrid. Like, you can't see any of that layout unless you're actually on the ride, so it does kind of work a lot like those rides. Like, you see the main big elements and then you don't see the parts that happen later on. Obviously this part of the queue is very open and flat, so I have put quite a lot of shading around. I've done the same with a couple of the other queues around the park, just dotted them shading covers around. I thought that they would need them. I know from experience of being in queues on my recent visit to Florida that shading is so nice to have, especially when it's really hot. I mean, given that this park I think is in the UK, that I haven't really been too location specific with it, even when it's sunny, because we do get sun sometimes in the summer. You do want shading in the queue, and I love passing underneath the lift hill as well with the big chunky custom supports. I always custom support my coasters, and Planet Coaster gets stuck on the path, and yeah, this one's no different. The custom supports make it come to life, especially with those big circular footers as well. I have noticed that a lot of coasters have circular footers, and we still don't have them in the game, so being able to use, I think that is a circular support just turned grey, like, and just rotated round. Yeah, as I mentioned the station before, there's a lovely view of the Arrow over there. You've seen it. The station has not changed much since last time. I think I've added the row numbers. Yeah, look at that view. I love it. And you can see the huge intimate drop tower in the background as well. Quite a lot have gone on this episode, considering I said it didn't take too long to get to this stage. Like, 2 flat rides and a coaster. I'm pretty happy with that. But yeah, the station's nice and simple. You can see awesome view of the coaster flying around up here from a bit more of an elevated overlook over the area. You can see the catwalk and ladder going down from that block section there. In case a train gets stopped, you can evacuate it. It is on 3 trains at the moment. I think most, like, you are making so much noise. I think most, like, high throughput B&Ms will be running 3 trains, hopefully. But yeah, I thought that was fairly realistic, but saving it to last. Should we go for a ride? Very excited to get back on this. Enjoy. And that was the B&M Flawless coaster. Again, names in the comments please if you have any suggestions for that. I would love to hear it. This is my first ever like little gift shop that I've done coming out. Obviously it needs work, it's just a starting point. We've got some ride photos there, a couple of different merchandise options and stuff. That'll be something I want to focus on a lot more when I've got the piece count available in my next park series, which will be a bit smaller than this. But yeah, really happy with the way that this is looking. Let's go for an aerial look. And there we go, this area of the park is looking a lot more developed. I mean, the whole park is in general. I feel like every coaster I add, it just makes the park feel a lot more lived in, a lot more lively, and seeing all the movement going around as well is really fun. And the next 2 episodes are really going to add to that as well. There's been a slight change to what I was expecting from the next 2 episodes. This area will probably get sorted off to the left in the episode after next. but both of them are going to be two really big coasters, both of which really exciting. One of them is from a guest creator, which I am absolutely in love with their creation. You are going to absolutely love it. And one of them will be another coaster from me, another thrill coaster. Then we really need to get some family attractions in this park. A couple more flat rides and buildings and restaurants and stuff, but yeah, it's going to be awesome. This park has a very bright future, and once this park series is done and Whispering Woods is out of the way, it'll be on to the next project, which I am so excited for. That has been months and months in the planning. But yes, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like to let me know if you enjoyed it. Comment down below some awesome ride names, and I will see you in the next episode. Thanks for watching. See you next time.